My long lost cousin Jib.
He's not quite right in the head.
Or just call you Adam Calloway. That's a Western name.
Ooh, I love it. I really like it. Or just call me Adam West. It works.
Jumps down and slides down the hill. I see shots going above his head.
So she's like, oh, great, on her one day off, you're trying to romance this Pan Am chick. I'm like, honey, it's V, it's not me. Come on.
Brought back some old Catholic school memories, did it?
Oh, man, yeah, you just... Okay, you know the DMV slaw?
I know you're going with this.
Yeah, this guy.
You're listening to On the Rewind.
Welcome to On the Rewind, a bi-weekly Neon Blinds media production where nerds, geeks collide on the latest nostalgic topics, airing on Amherst Island Radio 101.3 FM. Make sure you're tuning into our longer run of the show on your podcatcher of choice. What do you have for us on the Rewind, Adam?
All right. Actually, to rewind to last episode, I just kind of thought about this as I was looking at what I'm going to have to edit out and all that sort of stuff. This is once again behind the scenes stuff. I use DaVinci for editing the podcast, but in my day-to-day, I use Premiere Pro. And I used to have the DaVinci like shortcuts like down to a science.
Yeah.
You would have had a ball watching me try to edit the last podcast. I did absolutely everything to that poor audio file besides edit it correctly. Eventually I got to it, but I had to like use the mouse to like click each individual tool. Because there was points where all of a sudden I'm like making you talk fast, making you talk slow. All of a sudden my audio's up to 900 dB. I'm like, okay.
Were you standing or sitting when you did that to yourself?
Oh, I was sitting, yeah.
Did you almost flip backwards?
Well, I got so angry because like I'm just so used to like in my brain, I guess it took like less than a week to unwire all the wires that DaVinci had me in, and like to be fair, you could go through the settings and like change it, but like they intentionally make it so it's like, no, we're not the same as that other product. We're different. So use us instead. But yeah, anyway, so that was just something that as soon as I saw the editing I had to do, I'm like, oh my God, right. This is going to be another cataclysmic event of me attempting to use a keyboard like a toddler. But anyways, yeah. As far as Rewind, been playing Fallout London, not as much as I would like to, but still playing it. Pretty fun. It is a lovable mess. It crashes not frequently, but enough. It's a buggy mess, but nothing game breaking, nothing like that takes me out of it other than the fact that it'll crash. But every once in a while I'm just like, Jesus Christ, can we just do this? I will say though, there are settlements in it, and you know how much I'm into settlements. I found the perfect settlement, like actually for like my character, which is like a Peaky Blinders nomad merc style character. It is a big courtyard next to like townhouses and stuff like that, which is pretty popular in London. And the border is such that it actually covers a almost hollowed out townhouse. So you can delete like the floor that's collapsed and all the rubble and stuff like that. You have a hollow townhouse with like a off little bathroom there. That's all I use in this settlement. I put the windmills up top on the roof so the power's there. They give you the connectors, and I finally started using all those like actual proper connectors to go through walls and stuff like that.
Oh, so you're ready for when you get back into 76.
Exactly, honestly though, like because those have always been, and we actually talked about this one night gaming. Those have always been intimidating to me. The ones that actually use like proper cables, like it's like hardwired cables. So yeah, I actually like wired this house completely, and I made a second floor, and I made a bathroom, and they all have doors, and I patched up walls and stuff like that. And it like it has a kitchenette, it has a bathroom, has a living room, has a workshop, and has a bedroom. And it's like, dude, I made a proper house. This is like sweet as hell. And the best part is too, when you go into this settlement, you like look around a dark, dingy, rainy like courtyard, and all of a sudden you look over and like some windows are illuminated. And it's like, yeah, that's my house. It's like it's close to realistic of like, yeah, I'm one dude. So I just have a really pretty nice house that I've just kind of claimed off as my spot.
Nice.
So yeah, had a lot of fun building that. That was kind of cool. Also the developers put in their own paintings, and one of them is of their cat who looks semi close to Harlow. So that's kind of sick. Kind of love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, that's all I've been doing. Like, yeah, I've been having a lot of fun in it. The stories are great. It's I love that they made it so you actually want to explore, cuz like the world storytelling is so good in it, where it's just stuff that like you don't have to go here. There's no mission to go here, but like there is a story within this place of what happened and what like happened over time and stuff like that I love. Um Finally went to the Diamond City of this place. As far as I know,
Okay.
it's the Diamond City. It kind of looks like it. And yeah, the game does
What's
not
that
like it.
like? Oh,
It's good. It's good, but the game like when you're
is
the
it
problem
is dying?
yeah, cuz what they did was Diamond City. See, and this is the part that makes me think maybe it's not Diamond City, but it's a part of the open world.
Yeah.
Like no loading screen. Like you just walk into it. And if you remember Diamond City, it's its own loading screen. It keeps it like encapsulated. So that's probably why the game doesn't like it, because it's like you can just run into this huge city full of NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's just a huge open square. Like it's in
I
front
wonder if you
of a
turned your rendering distance down, if that would help it.
probably. But yeah, it's in front of some parliament building. Obviously not Big Ben and shit like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like other parliament building right outside of the fancy pants area, which is kind of cool. But yeah, besides that, that's pretty much encapsulates my whole Fallout London experience. I'm just a pistol wielding Peaky Blinders type. As far as gaming, that well, yeah, I downloaded Fallout 76 again when I heard that there was gonna be pets.
Yeah.
So that's in the far future, but near future at the same time. It's fine. I did actually boot it up one late night, so I knew you weren't on. I just took a look at the Atom store, like a little attic.
So fun thing is, it showed me on Steam that like played 5 minutes recently.
That's so funny. I hate Steam for that.
It's all on
it's
you so bad.
yeah.
I'm just like, huh? And even one of our friends was just like, "Hey, he played."
Oh, that's so funny. That's yeah. It was like late one night. I'm like, Cap, just I want to look at the store. I want to just see what the store is. Problem is, just I have no issue spending money in the game, and that's bad. That's not good.
Yeah.
Cause I just like
Well,
for like
on the bright side, eventually you'll own most of everything that you want.
yeah, but then I'll see something else, and all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I could do a whole theme around this one item.
Yeah.
Like I see one of the big items, I'm like, ooh, I'll just make a new settlement. Oh, I gotta purchase a new settlement? That's okay. That's no problem. And then once I start that theme, there's more stuff around it, right?
I got more creative when I couldn't do the theme I wanted, and now that I have the log cabin aesthetic,
Yeah.
I'm a one-trick pony.
Yeah. Yeah, most of it in my like head lore for all my bases was like it was a franchise of bars and casinos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it was all Knight's Den, Knight's Keep, Knight's whatever, Tavern, stuff like that. So yeah,
You
I
actually
always.
did just miss like a casino bundle a little while ago.
That's what I actually checked out. Yeah,
Yeah,
you had to be Fallout first to get some of the cool stuff, but it was kind of cool.
yeah.
Would be neat actually, just a whole casino, just yeah, barely a
To be
bar.
fair, if you bought like the 1 month of Fallout first, it
Yeah,
gives you enough atoms to buy the bundle.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly, if I get back into it at this point, it's like, well, no, let's start with Fallout first. Let's not beat around the bush here. Let's just go for it. I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably gonna be something I do. But oh, new Ghost of Tsushima game is been announced, which kind of looks sick. This isn't
Oh
our
yeah.
news segment, but it's just game that I like. Have you ever played
I have not. I've seen like the trailers and some gameplay and such. This is the
Samurai?
oh, no, I know it's the samurai, but I'm just trying to remember which samurai plot because that came out when there's like 3 other samurai games that came out like close
Um,
together. Is that the one where it's like you're the last one and you're fighting the Mongolians or whatever?
yeah, the Mongolians have
Or is that the
invaded.
Sekiro? I think I'm
Uh,
thinking of the right one.
yeah, the Mongolians have invaded the island. You're not like the last one, but you're pretty darn close
Yeah.
to the last one that there
And
is.
then they ended up adding like a co-op thing to it too down the road.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Never played that. Apparently it's pretty good, but yeah. It's like almost like team style fighting, I think. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe there is a story with it, but yeah. Then there was that huge DLC that they added that I never tried. It was such a long game. It was good start to finish, don't get me wrong. But it was such a long game by the time I was done. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't need any more DLC or anything like that. I'm pretty much tuckered out from it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was great. Looks beautiful. Can't deny it. You take it for granted when you until you start your next game after it. And all of a sudden you're like, oh wow. You've been looking at beautiful picturesque moments and all of a sudden you're like, there's no detail here. There's so little.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you get right into your head with the lore too, just walking through as the cherry blossoms are going. I always like
Okay.
being one of the samurai with the huge hat, just massive, and then I would always get like the whatever they call it. It's almost a dress.
Kimono.
Yeah, just walking around with a little kimono, and then just a huge hat. Just yeah, it's like so impractical, but I love it. Yeah, so pretty much gaming wise, that's all I got. I do have some stuff I was watching, but what are you playing right now? What games are you into?
Um. So just to get on to like keep riding the news segment of it because we usually always save that for after the extended bell is rung, but it's gonna be a shorter one today. Um. So fun fact, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I have mentioned Dying Light the Beast, which
Yep.
is going they're bringing back Cal Crane. If you own Dying Light 2, the Ultimate Edition, you get that free.
Yeah, see, I own the Ultimate Edition on PS4,
Well, that doesn't help
so
you. I'm
not at all.
kidding. um, aside from that, and I know you're waiting for me to bring it up. Actually, no, I've been invisible for the last little while on Discord and Steam, so I don't know if you realize how much Oliver Grimm's is back to life.
Not at all. No, you're invisible half the time, anyways. And like I told
That's what
you
happens. That's what
pre-recording,
happens when you add coworkers to your Steam.
that's so funny.
You're like, I don't want them to know I do this one thing, so I'm gonna be
That's
invisible.
oh, that's funny. Yeah. No, I get that. I used to do it so bad in high school where I just didn't want to talk to anyone. So yeah, I was
Yeah.
invisible all the time. But yeah, you're invisible. Also, like I said before recording, not on my computer much, but I have noticed. I have noticed. So how is Oliver Grimm?
Um, he's alive and well. What's interesting is I'm in this situation now. Yeah, that's always how it begins. There's a situation
Yeah.
where I helped out this one group, couldn't for the life of me track down like the longtime friends in the server. And I was trying to do it in a way that like I'm not messaging them saying, "Hey, I'm around." I want
Yeah.
it to be kind of like a natural. If I find them, I find them. If I don't, I don't.
I like that. But could you see that they were actually on the list, like they are in?
One of them,
Yeah.
but I didn't message him and ask him where it was or anything like that. I did message him and I asked him how his kid was because he had a kid a couple of years ago when we were first doing the RP. So we talked a little bit. We kept the RP out of it, but so I am doing this weird thing where I'm helping this blacksmith out in Mexico
All right.
and helping them out. I'm doing a caravan run from Saint Denis, a saloon where I managed to get a job at. That I'm never actually ever at the saloon. I just go there, I fill up my wagon with their wares, I come back with money and put it in the safe. It's essentially the exchange of business there. And so I've been like a traveling salesman selling food, but
That's
mostly
cool.
to this blacksmith and his mining company.
That's kind of
And it
sick.
turns out that the criminals I used to do the undertaking with and stuff like that have changed their names. They're still the same characters. Changed their names. They are currently the head guy of the group is the mayor of I won't say which specific actually. No one listens from the RP thing to this. It's been a while since I've talked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's the mayor of Valentine.
No way.
Yeah. And
That's
his wife changed her name, so she's the deputy mayor.
oh my god, it's like an actual TV show.
The old Undertaker is still the main Undertaker, but he moved to that town.
Dude, this is like a Jack Reacher thing where
And
also you walk into
then
town.
my former co-owner of the ranch, who joined this criminal gang in operation for a long time, is now so Valentine, they don't do a sheriff's office. They call themselves troopers. They're part sheriff, part military.
Okay.
They count towards the American army because
All
sometimes
right.
Mexico and America do go to war in the server.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah. People get the fire cannons, use the miniguns, all that fun stuff. So he's a senior trooper, so he's like 3 ranks up from the bottom already, with only like 2 more above him they can cap out at, and so. And then their Mexican compadre is just the unemployed guy, and he's just going around shining shoes and biding his time until they start doing crime again.
That's so funny. He's just like I doesn't like the legit way.
Yeah. But I got talking to the trooper, and he's like, "I miss running a ranch. I'm thinking about getting this one ranch." I'm like, "Oh, that's such a beautiful ranch." Like, it was our dream ranch, right? Like they
Yeah.
call it the Pronghorn Ranch, and it's like north of Strawberry in a beautiful area, and its own little neck of the woods. It's like my dad's side of the family and me is like, yeah,
Yeah,
fuck
that's
yeah.
your way to go. It's so funny talking about it like it's an actual place. It's just,
Yeah, but so this blacksmith down in Mexico, he's on this whole thing where they want to change career paths and go towards the saloon. Or not saloon, their own ranch, but they want to do it down in Mexico. And my experience of running a ranch is you need some sort of criminal help. Because when you start taking other people's business with saloons, and you start stepping on their toes,
yeah.
things tend to go one way or another.
Yeah.
And most businesses either are affiliated or typically ran by a criminal enterprise, because how did they get the money for the start the business in the first place? unless they slogged that grind,
Yeah, exactly. You're either like way
right?
too dedicated or yeah, you have ties.
Okay. But yeah, so there's all that going on. So, but then the mayor's like, well, his mayor thing is up for re-election at the end of this month. He doesn't know if he wants to rerun or if he wants to kind of find something else to bite his time and use as a cover while he can go back to his shenanigans.
Hmm.
Right?
All
And
right.
so here I am trying to puppet the strings to get these three different elements working together.
You know how funny it's gonna be if you come back in 2 episodes and you're the mayor?
I
I
can
was
make
waiting
it
for that.
happen, but I'm
Yeah.
actively trying to start a hunters guild, so I can have an excuse to just roam and shoot animals and make
Yeah.
my money that way. Because that's what kind of like I wanted to do that, but I liked the interaction with folks. So that's kind of what got me back into it. Was like I'm just gonna go hunt.
Yeah.
And sell the saloons and interact with people that way. And then sure enough, I covered it in the last time, found some folks that led me to this blacksmith in Mexico, working for them to make some alright change. Well, it wasn't really so much to change as they paid me in items, and then they leased me a wagon.
Okay.
And so, but how I make my money out of them is now that I got this, if my official job is from this saloon, is that they're all the way down in Mexico. I bring them food and sell it to them
Yeah.
by the wagon,
Yeah.
so they don't have to stop working in Mexico. The only thing is try to get back with all that money back to Saint Denis.
I was gonna say that's like there's only I forget what that town is absolutely north on the coast. It's that mining
Coulter?
town. Yeah, yeah. Like I was gonna say that's like the farthest point if you went from Mexico to there. I guess there is the winter now
Well,
too.
Mexico is the Coulter is the winter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Strawberry is the one before that, and then east of Strawberry, all the way at the top, is Ansburg,
That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
the mining town. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but they're all the way down. So, like, you know where Tumbleweed is in Armadillo?
Yep.
They're below that, across the bridge,
Oh wow, okay, yeah,
and
so
then
really
some. Yeah. If you ever feel like downloading the bits, I'd be more than happy to give you a tour. You don't have to get involved. I just want to show you what they've done to the map.
would be interesting to actually just go through.
Yeah.
Problem is, yeah.
You just gotta put on an accent, and and I'll pick you up. My long lost cousin Jib.
He's not quite right in the head.
Or just call you Adam Calloway. That's a Western name.
Ooh, I love it. All right, like it. Or just call me Adam West. It works.
Yeah.
But no, that's sick. I can't wait for you to be mayor. There's no way it's not gonna happen.
Nah, I don't have the time for that shit.
I love how you say that, but the ranch is calling you.
Oh, so speaking of this, so the Mexican group, they want to start a ranch. This mayor guy wants to start a ranch. The trooper guy wants to start a ranch, and they all ask me to head it. And I'm like, and I can't. And what I told the Mexican is like, I've done that. It's time commitment. I can't do anymore. And then Austin asked me, the former co-owner, and it's our dream ranch, the one we used to always talk about when we were like, if we ever were to leave this ranch to buy or get another ranch, that was the goddamn ranch, and it's up for sale. He's like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, don't you dare. You're not pulling me back into this life. And then the mayor's like, so how good was ranch?
That's so
and I'm like, oh dear
yeah.
God. So I'm trying to make it easier. It's just like there's enough of them. If they all work together, they can run a ranch, and I can just be like, "Hey, you need help with that delivery?" When I got the time. And so
Yeah,
I've talked out with like the Mexican group at least. It's just like I'll be your traveling salesman.
yeah.
I'll go talk to different saloons on your behalf and arrange deals, pickup dates, and everything else like that, like I used to do for the other one. Because that's just a matter of like, all right, if I got a fast enough horse, it's as fast as I can ride there in 15 minutes of my time.
Yeah.
Unless I get kidnapped, taken hostage, robbed, or, one of the other 20 things that
Yeah,
happens in that server.
it is the Wild West.
Then you add enough.
That's so funny.
You're like, oh, it'll only take 15 minutes. Oh, God. The wolves came, the bear came, the horse is gone. And I'm limping.
I love it.
I'm alive. I may as well be dead.
Yeah, it's so
Some
cool because it's
passerby
just
swings by. You need lift. I'm like, if you don't mind.
yeah. It's like that's all like player generated stories that like
Yeah.
are crazy.
Fueled by like NPC wolf attacks.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, I dabbled in Warhammer Darktide again. Because the
Okay.
new Warhammer game's out, but Darktide, that's the one I own. And it's also, I think I roped you into playing it a little bit. It's got a niche where you do your mission, you play through it. It's got the kind of chaotic battlefield going on, and then you get through the other side. And good job, you either completed the mission or you died trying.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, I just casually just been checking this periodically. Payday 3, with all their updates and everything else going on, has gone from mostly negative to recent reviews mostly positive.
Wow. Good for them.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's sitting at an overall mixed.
Yeah.
But the recent reviews has offsetted the mostly negative 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, because that they need to do something.
Yeah. And looking at it, because like, I got like the gold pass or the gold edition or whatever when it came out when it was cheap on sale and they needed to sell it. So yeah, there's like 3 major updates. A Houston breakout heist, not Hoxton.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of tailor packs and weapon packs.
Okay. So they're trying.
Yeah. I think they've downsized the operation a fair bit, so they're taking longer to pump out the content, which is understandable because the reception was not warm.
No, I think they probably banked a lot of stuff on it like blowing up and being a success immediately.
Yeah.
And they realized, no, we have to do this in the long haul.
Yeah. Because Payday 2, once it had its momentum, it seemed like it was never going to end. And then it just never ended. And everyone's like, oh, okay. We're kind of ready to move on now. And then they kind of slowed it down, pumped out the thing. People would come back and play once in a while. No, that was the game of our high school years there, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. The problem is when it goes on for so long, you get comfortable that you can leave. Because you're like, this is always going to be there. There's always going to be something new.
That's like Warframe for me.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I got like most of like the story missions done. They take a year to pop out a new one, so I'll stop playing it for a couple of years, come back, knock it out over the course of either a long weekend or a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then disappear into the ethos again. I did try booting up that Shadows of a Doubt again.
Yeah.
And try getting through the bit more of the tutorial. And then I got into where you're going to the address of the person, find the body. But for whatever reason, I could not get it to proc the next step. Like, find an escape route. And I did. And then I got all the clues I could get from there. And then I left. But it wants you to wait until the police start banging on the door.
Weird.
But I already had left the apartment, so it's waiting for me to go back in so they can bust back in. And I'm like, Okay, turned off.
Yeah.
Didn't even bother saving. I'll just regenerate the next one and did it
Yeah.
properly.
See, I bought that thinking I'm like, maybe. And then I looked up some videos on it, just like beginner tips and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is too difficult. This is
Yeah,
too
it was
difficult.
fun when we trudged through it together.
Well, yeah, because anything's fun with friends, right?
Yeah, so that's where like even I felt it's like, man, I think I might need Adam be like sitting on a call with me in order for me to actually like get through this. And it's not that it's not fun. It was just that equals more fun for me than just like, all right, let's try and solve this murder.
Yeah, and it's like it's so open world. It's realistic, but it's too
almost too,
realistic.
yeah, I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
too open world, and I wish they would have whether it be a mod or officially supported to where like you could just connect like a 2-player detective game on it, so we're both tracking down clues.
Yeah, yeah. Or an agency, even if it was like an 8-player
Like
co-op type thing.
oh, that'd be good.
Right? Yeah, you have like your guy in the chair, stuff like that.
That's your like $100,000 profit video game idea right there.
Right? Because yeah, it would be actually awesome if all your buddies were trying to hunt down this murder. Y'all have different skill sets, specialists.
Yeah, not even so much as that. Just like, hey, we have a lot of leads in a finite amount of time. You chase this one, I'll chase this one. And you just have like the Lethal Company version of like voice thing where you have like the radio once you're so far away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny too, because when I was looking up tips, they're like, yeah, if you don't get to the cameras within 24 hours, it's erased. I go, all right, IRA, that's too much stress on me for this. I
think that time goes up as you put the difficulty down.
Yeah.
Because not gonna lie, like when we were playing it, I think we were like, yeah, we could do normal, just small. And then I'm like, big but easy.
Yeah, let's do small and easy. Like,
yeah.
I want to be able to solve one murder.
I'm just gonna make it a town of like 40 people.
Yeah. Screw it, town of 4.
It's gonna be a block. But yeah, that's kind of the gist. A little bit of Fallout 76. Just dabbling here and there. There's a weapon you can unlock by doing the new caravan thing. But it's a little bit of a grind to get that quest. Because you got to get one of the merchants, and you got to upgrade that merchant to level 2. And then talk to them, and then they're like, hey, I heard of this prototype.
I think I know what you're talking about because I did check out a video on Milepost Zero. Okay. Looks interesting. But yeah, I think I know what merchant you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's where it's like, all right, I got the Brahmin trainer because that way you can do more expensive, better paying out caravan runs.
Oh, and faster Brahmin?
It just opens up. I don't know if they'll go faster. I don't know what happens when you level them up. They add more difficulty, and the higher difficulty ones give you more supplies, and supplies is the new currency.
Yeah, okay.
But I guess before I forget, I kind of just reminded on kind of like a Halloween note, Silent Hill 2, the remake has released as of yesterday, October 8th, as we're recording this.
Okay.
People were worried because it was, and this is the correct name, the Bloober team.
Bloober?
Yeah, so they did Layers of Fear, which was received well, but I think they also had an issue with the original one had some like copyrighted art in it.
Okay.
That they just used. Before that, they did The Medium, and then they did the Blair Witch game. So the Blair Witch game was well received. The Medium game, however, was not well received.
At all?
It was cool. Premise was cool. I thought it was all right when I played it off the Game Pass, but it It's they took a shot in the dark, trying something different,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where I think if you're just like if you just want to play a horror game, it's fine. But if you're wanting to play a good horror game, next on your list.
Yeah. Okay.
Because at no point are you actually kind of like scared. And it's just heavy in the supernatural theme.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Just
not
kind of along
like
for the ride.
Until Dawn or anything where there feels like there's a threat of something.
Yeah.
There is, but a lot of it's like bump 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 or ooh storm.
Just foreboding.
Yeah. Like you'll do things where like you're holding a button, you're opening up like a morgue locker.
Yeah.
And so it's like the ambiance, the threat of something could happen. And then it's not that it's a jump scare, it's a quick pan to something that kind of jolts you.
Okay.
But they also did Observer, which actually, and they published that one themselves, which is probably like one of the better like cyberpunk horror games. You're doing like this detective trying to track down some sort of lead, and it takes you to like this foreclosed like corpo building
Okay.
that the automations in it and the machines and the robots in it are still running.
Okay.
And so at some point you go from uh like um you go from like the finding out stuff to being kind of the hunted in this situation. And this AI, because you're augmented yourself, has hacked into you and knows your fears, your character's fears, and is purposely messing with them, trying to send them down the wrong path. So there's a little bit of player point to where if you follow the certain path, you go down the wrong one, but if you follow it kind of on your own kind of whim and kind of
Yeah.
just like, okay, this doesn't track, even though my gut tells me, hey, this thing's gonna get me. Oh, maybe it is the real robot, maybe it's not.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a psychological thing more than anything.
Yeah, it is a psychological like twist on the horror, but you're playing as like this old detective that's enhanced and like he's using cyberware to kind of keep him going. So he's
Yeah.
got too much of it in him. And he's like taking like the and like I think an element of it, I can't remember if it's this, I think it is, like I'm pulling from a long ago memory. I think you're taking like the blockers to prevent your cyberware from being rejected, and you have like a finite amount, and you're looting the office to try and find more because enough people have cybernetics. You can find people's pills and drawers, and you're trying to
Yeah,
find your
stash it.
brand of blockers as
Huh.
you're going. Otherwise, you start coughing and alerting the thing.
I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah. So they have a mixed track record, but apparently this one's a hit. The Silent Hill 2. I know I didn't really I talked about every other game but that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it goes when you start talking about a development team.
Yeah.
Um are you familiar with the story of Silent Hill 2?
No, not at all.
Okay. So I won't go into too much just in case people are getting into it. You should already be spoiled because it's a remake of a game. Just like how
Yeah.
you should already be spoiled Resident Evil 2 when that came out. But they do change things, adjust things, make things a little bit more modern. They kept a lot of things more traditional, revamped up some boss fights, kept a lot of the same bosses, changed a little bit of the order. But essentially, um, this is the little blur from it. You're investigating a letter from your late wife. Your return where they allegedly made so many memories. Silent Hill. What he finds is a ghost town prowled by disturbing monsters cloaked in deep fog. So it's also a puzzle game. You're going
Okay.
around solving puzzles and stuff like that. The original game, you had 2 difficulty modifiers: combat and puzzle difficulty. Yeah.
Were the puzzles that hard, or
On the hardest difficulty, you had to look for some clues.
really?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they do more hunting for like the clues and going around the environment. But so essentially, Silent Hill acts as a purgatory. They've proven this theory that every person in Silent Hill has their own version of monsters. So the person from 3, you're playing as a female, and they played a lot of themes on the stereotypical what would a female be a victim of,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And the monsters were based around that.
Oh, okay.
Silent Hill 2 originates the nurse. And there's a character in the original one that you're trying to find your wife in the second game, and there's this person that kind of looks like her, not so much. They actually change her model as you play. So when you first meet her, it looks very close to his late wife. But as you keep interacting with her and engaging with her, she starts to more look like her own person, but you've now built up this relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. You've seen her
And
enough.
you're it's considered like the infidelity, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
then there's the monster in it, which are the nurses that have the weird face wrap
Yeah. Yeah.
things that you've probably seen in different movies and stuff like that
I've
reference it.
seen them. Yeah. Yeah. Referenced a bunch.
Yeah, so that is because apparently he was always staring at the nurses. Meanwhile, his wife is there in the hospital sick, and he was getting a little flirtatious and stuff like that at times with the nurses.
Oh, I love the. Okay. I like the
So
stories
they're
behind
just
it.
trying to stab him and stuff like that. So there's all these different elements, and then there's things in the first original game to where it actually checks to see how often you examine. So if you start going after this Mary lady that's not your wife, you start looking at a photograph that is your wife, and it slowly starts to fade away the more you interact with this person.
Really?
Yeah. And then if you discover some things and you start examining the knife that you have, description in that changes. Either say like anything from going towards like, hey, maybe you were the murderer, maybe you murdered her, depending
So
on what you interact with. So you don't actually know what's going on. And there's in the original game, there's 3 endings.
okay.
There's the you went after Mary. There was the you were faithful, and you did everything right. And then there's this one where you delve into killing more of the things and stuff like that, and it's like maybe you were the psychopath.
So true, like psychological one.
Yeah.
Nice. Terrifying, but nice.
Yeah. And mind you, I think like I can't remember. Like I think that that was a PS2 game.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So imagine like
And the fog wasn't like the ambiance thing. That was so they could render a bigger city. The fog was the limits of what you rendered.
I think I watched a Game Ranks file or video on that actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because I laughed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Smart.
but what's cool is people are already modding this game to play it in VR. Not of Locomotion, not yet.
Yeah.
But people are like, I played this on the PS2, and now I'm in this dingy bathroom I remember from this PS2 game. Just having this weird thing. And I've had that moment. Like, I remember when I booted up Contractors, and I hopped into one of the old Call of Duty maps from, like, Modern Warfare 2. and it was in like how it's kind of
Yeah.
3D. It's not fully like VR is VR. The lenses on the Quest 2 aren't the best VR experience for pulling into the thing, mostly because of the resolution
Yeah.
and
But
the
it's
kind of like
not
the tunnel
bad.
vision. But it's good. But like I remember looking around and like, oh, I played the crap out of this as a kid and with my dad.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And now I'm
But
running around aiming these invisible controllers and shooting people up in it.
I am
Yeah,
always curious to see where that's gonna go.
yeah.
It's so cool to get an actual Call of
Have you
Duty
looked
VR.
more into the Batman VR game?
Not at all. Nope.
Okay. So I know
My
that piqued your interest.
my one coworker, because we started talking about the Peaky Blinders VR game.
Yeah.
He actually bought it, never played it, and then we talked about it. He goes, "I'm gonna play that," and he did, and it's amazing. He
Oh
said
yeah, no, it's good. It's a whole story.
yeah, like he said there was this point where like you actually smoke darts in it.
Yeah.
And there was this thing where they gave you a gun to go kill this dude, and he goes, "Yeah, I saw the gun, but then there was like this like table leg here." So I just grabbed the table leg and I hit this guy's leg that I was like, "You were just supposed to walk over there and dome him." And he beat his leg and he actually got information out of the guy
Oh.
before ending him. Yeah. And he goes, "Yeah, that was just a whim where I was just like, it'd be kind of funny just to be like Peaky Blinders and like break your kneecaps first." And yeah, he's like, turns out they thought, hey, if you do this, you get a little more information out of the story.
I didn't even know about that.
Right? Oh, it's nuts. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Yeah. Oh, did want to talk real quick about something I watched. Have you heard about the McMahon documentary?
I have not watched it. How is it?
So, do you know the premise? It's in the first 5 minutes. This was all filmed before his allegations, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. That it was 90% done. It was supposed to be a puff piece, then the allegations came out, and so it's kind of a rise and fall documentary instead now.
Yeah. Like I will say, it's extremely interesting to hear about because I'm not the biggest wrestling. Well, I'm not a big wrestling fan at all.
I used to be.
Yeah. I used to play the video games quite a bit. My dad was more into it than I was, which is just funny as hell to say. But
The video games is what got me into being a wrestling fan.
that's funny. I did
Yeah.
love them. They're so sick. Rey Mysterio and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember playing like the 2008 to like 2010 like PS2 games.
That's probably my exact ones too, because I remember 2008 for sure. But yeah. So it was very interesting to see how wrestling was beforehand, the rise of the company, and all that sort of stuff. Where I'm like, hey, that's very interesting. And they do say, hey, he did some bad stuff, but I don't like that they did the part of they keep holding you on the line for talking about the new stuff, like the new stuff that came out.
Yeah.
And they never touch on it. Just ends off. They never once talk about the new allegations. They bring up a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, never once touch on the new allegations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they did. Because I was hearing about it secondhand, and I was like, I added it to the list to watch, and
Yeah.
then I ended up, I already saw it in theaters, but I ended up snagging the Deadpool Wolverine movie,
Nice.
and I just watched that. I just watched that again. And that was my entertainment over the yesterday there when I was like, should I watch this? It's like, I'll watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I've been slowly getting through that Walker show.
oh
I
yeah, you were
talked
talking
before.
about that.
I'm
Yeah.
on the last season they got out so far. I'm about
Yeah.
halfway through that. And man, this last season should have been its first season.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I get why they did everything, because every season has introduced a staple character,
Yeah.
right? So your first set of staple characters is, okay, Walker. He's Pac from Undercover, season 1,
Yeah.
right? End of season 1, his partner. I don't think I can. I don't think I can do this behind a badge anymore. It's too much. Season 2, halfway through it, new partner. Season 3, close friend that has military experience that saved him a couple times has now become a ranger.
Oh my good lord. So
Actually,
guys,
season 3 was actually kind of a banger.
yeah.
So that's where it's kind of like it took kind of the first 2 seasons to do the building of the world, but they
Yeah.
did, and then season 3 they tore it all down. No, they did a very good twist, because they led you in one direction. So, you mind if I spoil a little?
Go for it. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, spoiler disclaimer for like season 3 of like Walker.
Very
Um,
specific spoiler here.
Yeah. So you have the new partner starts dating like the mayor's assistant. Well, the mayor's assistant is the leader of an organization that they're trying to track down. You don't know
okay.
this for the longest time,
Yeah.
and Walker's war PTSD is kind of kicking in full gear now that things are starting to slow down. The
Yeah.
quiet's setting in on him, but also this organization had him and his brother recently tortured, but they managed to escape. So you got this assistant playing it cool, playing the best friend, being like, "Oh man, I'm sorry for you," so like
Yeah.
that. But it all goes back to like he's getting these flashbacks, and you're seeing this guy sergeant in the military, and you're like, "Oh, it's gonna be him," right? Turns out, guy's alive. They end up tracking him down. He's not the bad guy. He's actually trying to track down the bad guy.
Full 360.
Oh yeah, they did
Yeah.
good, because they're like, I'm off the cuff. Like first time I see him, I'm like, that's gonna be the bad guy. Just because you've watched enough of these shows and stuff like that, you're like, all right, if the writers are writing this the way most people would, that's gonna be the bad guy, the guy that's supposed to be dead.
Yeah. Oh, Kayla hates it when I do that. Where it's like, well, how do you know? It's like, because they want you so badly to think this way. So obviously their twist is going to be the opposite.
Yeah. And
Oh, I love
then they did a twist on the twist, which I thought was like, all right, game recognized game here. And then they pull it back to where this is all a revenge thing, because that sergeant's little brother is the mayor's assistant, and he's like, you left me with him, and him, if you catch a few bits, is their father, who apparently was like abusive crap and stuff like
Okay.
that. And he's like, you're supposed to save me, but they left you to die, was his whole thought process. And because they got medals and everything else like that, the unit never mustered up the courage to go visit the family and give them the condolences. And
Yeah.
Walker held on to that guy's flag that you're supposed to give their family.
Oof.
So this guy's went on a war path to make them pay for leaving his brother to die.
Jesus.
And then turns big twist, brother's alive.
Oh,
And then-
and with that, I think I'm going to have to cut you off there. We are getting to the end of our recorded episode on Amherst Island Radio 101.3 FM. This has been On the Rewind. Thank you so much for listening. We are on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, anywhere you listen to podcasts. That's where we're going to be. I'm Adam.
I'm Derek.
And we just
Rewound.
That's actually not bad. That was one of our best ones.
Yeah. Still not in sync.
Hey, give us credit.
Thanks for listening to On the Rewind.